Healthy.
Greetings, Groovers. How are you doing? Welcome to Full Record Jacket with Phil and Ben on a beautiful Sunday morning. Hello, Ben. How are you doing?
Hello, Phil. How are you? I'm good.
I
Thank
don't know
you.
whether I should have actually announced that it's a Sunday morning because it might, we have no idea when this is going to get published. But
No,
but
no,
we'll keep it real. We won't lie. We won't try and pretend that we made it on the day it was
no.
published. We just
Because
record these things on a
we're
Sunday.
truthful guys, Phil. We're truthful guys.
It usually is a Sunday, isn't it, that we record?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. We've done many days a week. When we first started, we used to do a Thursday evening.
Did we? Okay, yeah.
When we first started doing it, then I think we did Sundays. Then we tried to do midweek, and now we just Sunday morning seems to, or Sunday afternoon. We did Sunday afternoon, didn't we? Like the Kinks.
It's whenever it's available, but yeah, usually you give me a Sunday morning call.
I do, very much so.
Which actually that leads me in. We talk about Oasis too much, don't we? I know we do, but I turned on the TV last night. It's all down to you being a super fan. And the Jules Holland show was on. It was a repeat, and they were showing from it must have been the year 2000 because it was the Standing on the Shoulder of Giants era, and it was an Oasis special where they did a whole
where they played a full set.
The whole show. I don't know how long it went on for in total. It was about 45 minutes, an hour going on for something like that.
Yeah, I saw them at Wembley in 2000. Luckily on the Friday, not the Saturday, when it was a bit of a mess.
Yeah.
It was a good show, that one. Very good show.
Good.
I've seen quite a few things off of there.
I forgot that.
I've seen the old set, if I'm honest.
Yeah, I forgot that Alan White, of course, was still drumming at that time.
Yeah, I think he went through. He even did Heathen Chemistry as well.
Yes. Because yeah.
And then it was obviously Zach Starkey, but I'm not sure if Zach Starkey played the drums on Don't Believe the Truth. I can't honestly remember.
Or was it a session guy and then they got him in or something? I don't know.
Yeah, because Alan White was suffering with his tendonitis or whatever in his elbow.
Right. I just thought I'd mention that because obviously, the Oasis excitement is building now.
It is. Did you see did you watch the Adidas advert that I sent you?
I did, yes. So they're basically they're now sponsored by Adidas. Has that happened before? Have they been sponsored by a sports brand before?
I know Noel's done Oasis, Adidas tie-in. Well, Liam's obviously done an Adidas tie-in, and Noel did something with Ian Brown. God, 10 plus years ago. God, he probably even longer than that. I think he might still be in an Oasis. They did an Adidas thing together. It seems to be the brand of Scally's, doesn't it? That sort of mid-90s sort of period where you had the Adidas Stambas and your 3-stripe track bottoms. I think they were... it's sort of a brand that you associate with them, isn't it, I suppose?
Well, it's interesting because I'm going off on a tangent here, but these sportswear brands, they normally obviously partner up with sports people, tennis players, footballers, whoever, and they sponsor them to wear their stuff, and they promote their stuff as being sportswear, right? But then partnering up with Oasis basically is selling sportswear to people who don't use it for sport.
Yes. Casual wear, Phil stuff.
Yeah. Have they ever... I mean, I'm used to all the things like Adidas. They're still usually marketed in a sporty way, and this is now just basically admitting that they sell loads of it to people who get drunk and hang around on the street late at night.
Are you trying to say that Oasis fans are drunk all the time and hang around on street corners?
They are. They're just... That's all they are, yeah. What was it? Who was it that upset Liam the other day by saying something like that?
Wasn't it somebody from the Scottish Council or something like that?
That was it. Was it Edinburgh? Wasn't it about the Edinburgh Festival? And they were saying that...
Yeah, because it's on the same... Their gig up there is on the same weekend as the Edinburgh Fringe.
A festival that I have no part in whatsoever.
No, exactly. You literally have not. In fact, if you turned up without a fringe, they would they'd probably chase you out of town, dude. You wouldn't have any. Yeah, you wouldn't have anywhere to go. You'd be mocked. So anyway, what have you been listening to this week?
Well, yesterday, I'm trying to think back over the whole week. Yesterday, as it was a hot summer's day, sunny afternoon,
It was.
I didn't listen to the Kinks, but I listened to Exile on Main Street by the Rolling Stones, which I had not heard in a very long time.
Dirty Country.
In fact, I got through 3 sides. I was actually listening to it on my phone with some, very decent Bluetooth headphones. But I did actually play it as if it was the LP. So I played, side 1, first 5 songs. Had a teeny little break, as if I turned the record over, and then played the others. But I played 3 of the 4 sides. I need to finish off and listen to the last few. But I did enjoy it. Now this was the 2010 remaster, which some people don't like. To be honest, at my age, I'm not sure I can tell the difference. But it's a while since I've listened. I'll have to compare it with my '94 Virgin label CD, which some people think is the best CD of it. But it gets a bit geeky, doesn't it?
I have been listening to some stuff. I still can't take the Pulp album off my turntable.
Because you put glue on one of the sides?
Yeah. But no, every time I listen to it, I hear something a little bit different. I catch a lyric that I didn't hear the first time, and I think that's the genius of Jarvis Cocker is. Well, I think that's the genius of Jarvis Cocker. He could just chat GPT the lyrics, I suppose, every time. But I just hear something different. I'm like, oh, I like that. That's So, but no, I'm enjoying that album. And then a bit like you with the Rolling Stones, I have listened to a classic album which will be revered through the ages. A 60s classic. Do you know what it was?
A 60s classic.
It's not from the 60s. It's from 1996. It's Robbie Williams' Live Through a Lens, because I thought I hadn't listened to it for a little while, and I thought I'd revisit it after we had a little bit of a Robbie discussion over the Escapology album. And I've got to say, I think it still holds up. I think it's a pretty solid album. It's a B+. I don't know if he'll go on to do anything else, Robert Williams, but, for his first go, it's not too bad.
So let him entertain you. Is that on there? Let Me Entertain You? Is that on that one?
It's on there. If I remember rightly, before I check, I've got a feeling it is track 8, but I can't. Really? It's on track 8 or track 6.
It's not the first song on the. It's not the first song. You think that'd be the obvious first song?
It is track 8.
Really?
That's how much of a geek I am.
I don't think I've ever actually listened to the album, but I always assumed that "Let Me Entertain You" would be the opening song.
No. The opening track actually is "Lazy Days." Do you remember that? That was a single released through it. Off of it.
Title is vaguely familiar. Can't remember it though.
In the video, he had loads of not magnifying glasses or something hanging down, and then you got Live Through a Lens, which is quite good. I think it references, is it Tara Palmer Tompkinson in it? I think she gets it. Then Ego a Go-Go, which I quite like, quite a rauchy sort of South of the Border, where he goes slightly Liam Gallagher. Old Before I Die.
I remember that.
Before I die.
That was a bit of a sort of an Oasis light
type one,
track, wasn't it? Yeah.
One of God's Better People, which is sort of a slow down. One of God's better people. Then Let Me Entertain You. followed by Killing Me, Clean, and Baby Girl Window. And then there's a hidden track about 13 minutes in, I think. Is it on this one, which is the poem to his ex-school teacher, I think.
Okay.
So,
when did he do everyone's favourite wedding song, funeral song?
Angels.
Yeah, when did he do
Angels
that?
is on there.
Oh, it's on there as well. Yeah.
Yeah, Angels is on there. Yeah, it's between Ego a Go-Go and South of the Border. I completely missed that one off. I remember the first time I heard that song, and I'm pretty sure we were still both at the engineering firm that we met at, our first date.
Yeah.
And I wasn't feeling particularly great, and I was out.
Excuse me.
Oh, here we go. He's coughing his guts up. And I went out to my car, and I was feeling really knackered, and I fell asleep on my lunch break for about an hour and a half. I woke up, and Joe Wiley, or was it before I fell asleep? It might have been before I fell asleep. And Joe Wiley played Angels. I'm not sure it was a live version or not, but I thought, that's pretty decent. Yeah. And you know me, I've said it before, Phil, so I do like to give a chance to people who are in, these so-called boy band, girl band things. I like to give their solo albums a bit of a chance to see what they will do outside of that bubble. So, and yeah, as a let's put it like this, Philster. I have listened, and I'm going to say, to Open Road by Gary Barlow, and this is a world away from that album. Because I do like Gary Barlow. I think he's a good guy, and I like he writes very good pop songs. But I'm going to say it, Open Road, a little bit dull.
Can we, you don't mind if we steer slightly away from Gary Barlow, do you?
No, I'm happy to move from Gary Barlow.
Because I just thought of something else that I listened to.
Oh, go
on. Right, so you heard about, I've gone a bit, you've gone boy band, because you've been listening to, Robbie was ex-boy band. I suppose his music wasn't really boy bandish, was it, when he went solo? But,
no.
So then you didn't listen to Gary Barlow this week though, did you? That was ages ago. You haven't done that again.
Ages ago, yeah, but I'm still getting over it. I've still got PTSD.
Now, I went online and I've gone all classic rock because I had Rolling Stones on, and then I listened to Bruce Springsteen. And what I specifically listened to were the 7 songs from Bruce Springsteen's new box set that have already been made available on streaming. You know, when they put something out on streaming and the songs gradually, they don't release all of it at once and there's only one song you can play and then you've got to wait for the rest of it to get released. So, have you heard about this box set that Bruce Springsteen's done?
I did, because I think you mentioned it. Did we talk about it, or did you you bring it up on the show?
I probably brought it up on the show because I'm boring like that, aren't I? So, to recap for anyone who doesn't know, Bruce Springsteen obviously has made quite a few albums over the years. And back in the late 90s, he did this, which is called Tracks. And it's just a 4-disc box. And he basically put all the songs, or a lot of the songs that he hadn't included on his albums, the sort of the leftovers and things, on this collection of, I think it's around, I can't remember, about 70-odd songs or something like that. And that was quite highly regarded, and it was regarded that he did have some good leftover songs. And then he hasn't put any out for a while. And then he suddenly announced...
I have lost
recently.
Sound. 1 second,
You've lost
Phil,
sound. I'll let you carry on getting the sound.
Can
I'll carry
I hear
on
you?
talking about Bruce Springsteen.
Is he talking?
Where was I? Yes, he announced that he's putting out...
hear you now.
Oh, I carried on waffling anyway because I thought it's probably recording me. So Springsteen's announced Tracks 2, which is the follow-up, but it's a bigger box set. It's got 7 albums in it. I think it's going to have 7 CDs And I think if you buy the vinyl version, it has 9 LPs because a couple of those are quite long CDs. So there's 83 songs, and most of this stuff is from the 90s. And
Great decade.
It turns out, because Bruce Springsteen, to do a very potted history, of course, he starts in the 70s, he gets kind of big through the 70s. In the 80s, he gets
back on the chocolate.
He gets mega with Born in the USA in the mid 80s, and then he does Tunnel of Love, which is a little bit more of a subdued album. And then in the 90s, he's got married, he's got young kids. He doesn't do touring with the E Street Band. He did do some albums, but he only made, I think it's correct to say there's only 3 studio albums that he put out in the 90s. Human Touch, Lucky Town, which both came out on the same day, and then The Ghost of Tom Joad, the acoustic album, or mainly acoustic album. So then it turns out that he was more productive than people thought, because he made 5 albums during the 90s that he didn't release. So he's going to put those out. And people have been saying, well, surely they can't be any good, you can't really have 5 left. But then you think about it, well, I suppose if he put them out, if he put out 7 albums in a decade, would anyone really have thought that was unusual? Would have been quite prolific, but...
Yeah, I mean, bear in mind, we did discuss the other day that, what was it, Ryan Adams in the last 4 and a bit years has released 13 albums.
13
this year.
And most of that is original songs, isn't it?
Yeah. It's like Baby Bird.
So I had a listen to these 7 Springsteen songs. I went for a walk, had them on my headphones, and I did listen to them twice. And I have to say, I was impressed. I mean, I think it's good. I mean, I don't know what the quality control is across all 83 songs, but the reviews seem to suggest that it's good. So I think it's a bit of a bonanza for Bruce fans. You're going to get this hitherto unknown history. Yeah,
a bonanza for your earlobes.
I mean, there's an album he's done there that sounds like sort of country rock that was recorded quite quickly and sounds like it was been done quite quickly in a good way. There's an album that's based around the same kind of sound as Streets of Philadelphia. It's that kind of thing.
I love that track. I'm trying to take my slider off.
You carry on doing that.
I'm trying to take it off, but do it sort of like, stealth-like, and I'm fading miserably. If anybody's wondering what this is behind me, it's a big teddy bear that I'm using as a backrest.
There's a Mexican kind of themed album with a kind of slightly Mexican mariachi sound to it, which seems to work really well for Springsteen. And then there's another album which is a companion piece to the more recent one. What's that called? Western Stars. Sort of a, what would we call it? Almost Bruce going into Glenn Campbell kind of territory, I suppose you could say.
What, perhaps. Bruce Springsteen went into Glenn Campbell?
Into Glenn Campbell territory, yeah.
That would have been something to talk about, wouldn't it?
So it's kind of...
I am just moving cushions around to get myself comfortable. I'm recording this from a bed. I'm literally in a spare room, and I'm using the spare bedding as a backrest, and I'm failing miserably here, people. I can't get it comfortable, Phil. 1 second. I tell you what, you don't get this on any other podcast, do you?
You don't. I bet there's not another podcast talking about Bruce Springsteen where someone rearranges a cushion in the middle of
there we go. That is.
Cocktail.
Do you know what? Best thing I've ever done that. Is it like a B-sides album? Is it sort of, because I like a B-sides album.
Well, I think one of the discs is an odds and ends disc because it's not actually one he conceived as an album. Most of it, I think there's one disc from the 80s, which is the LA Garage Sessions from 83. So that was just
is
a
that
bunch
what
of
he's with
sessions.
Craig David? Whoop, whoop,
yeah.
Whoop, whoop.
So I don't think that was intended.
All over your... wah, wah.
So that's just basically a session of stuff that was recorded but not released. Then there's these 5 albums, which I think are mainly from the 90s, one from the 2000s, which he actually did conceive as albums. I mean, they're not just he actually thought out the track listing. It was they were going to potentially
was it
get
a
released.
case of he recorded them and didn't like them, or did he record them and think, I'll release them, they're not really what I want to release right now?
I think it's
I'll
partly
release
because he
them at
did.
another.
I think it was partly because he wasn't quite sure it was the right moment to put it out, or he was for some reason hesitating on it. I don't know whether it was also because the record company didn't want too many albums to promote at the same time.
Yeah,
that kind of thing.
Gravy,
I'm not sure the exact reason, but it does seem to me, from what I can gather so far, that these are not bad albums. That this, if you like Springsteen, particularly if you like the sort of the later stuff. I know some people prefer his earlier stuff, but I think he's good as a middle-aged artist. I think he's got a lot of very good later stuff.
There is nothing wrong with being middle-aged, Philster.
No. So I think if you're a Springsteen fan, you'll definitely want to check this out. It's quite prohibitive to buy the physical versions because they're very expensive. This has been a point of some controversy. I think it's about 250 quid to buy the CD version. And I think the vinyl is approaching 300 and something, I think. I may be wrong on that.
£300.
But you can stream them. So, what do you want to do?
I tell you what, back in the day, this is the thing, you see, now you don't get, and not that I agree with them, but I think, back in the day when you had things like LimeWire and Napster, I don't think people would have got away with charging that amount of money because people would just gone, I'm not paying it, I'm just going to find other means of obtaining it.
Yeah. So it's an interesting one. Rolling Stone, for what their opinion is worth, have given it 4.5 stars.
Oh, out of 5?
Out of 5.
Oh, it's interesting to think that their actual albums have just been sat there. If they were like a collection of B-sides and outtakes, you could probably be like, or maybe just wanted to rake in 300 quid a vinyl.
Well, it's making me think now, who is, of these veteran guys, who is the king of unreleased stuff? Because up to now, I've thought that Bob Dylan was the king of unreleased stuff because he's had his bootleg series and he's had quite a lot of songs that didn't get released at the time, but not really whole albums. They're more like songs that he had that were good, but they didn't go on albums. And a lot of good live stuff has come out as well of Dylan years later. And Neil Young has done this. And of course, Neil Young has had these unreleased albums, but his unreleased albums sometimes contain songs that did end up on albums that he released. So what Neil Young would do would be, he'd conceive an album, he'd have all these songs for the album, then he'd decide not to release that album, but half the songs would either get used or re-recorded for another one which did come out. So a lot of those songs are already familiar, it's just a different configuration. But with Springsteen, these are completely self-contained, never heard before albums.
It would be interesting to sort of know, like, our favourite bands of all time, like how many tracks worth or albums worth there are of unreleased stuff.
Prince did this as well, of course. There are some unreleased albums. There's an album that came out a few years ago now called Welcome to America, which is an album that he made as a complete album. It was packaged and ready to go, and he cancelled it. Of course, he cancelled the Black album.
Releasing music after he died.
There's a lot of Tupac Shakur stuff, isn't there? Now, did he make albums that did get released, or were they just loads of songs?
I think he's probably recorded a lot of vocals, because that's what rappers and MCs do, isn't it? And then, because, they're not there working out a chord structure, are they? They're sampling stuff and remixing samples. That it's quite easy, if you've got the vocal, to then find a track that you can overlay the beat to.
Yeah. So
you're thinking rumors, wasn't there?
Okay. So a lot of these rap albums,
those rumors that he hadn't died.
Yeah. So a lot of these rap albums, you think, have been produced afterwards. It's just vocals that exist. Is that how that works? I don't know how rap's made, to be honest.
Yeah.
I've no idea how they make rap.
Jackson song, wasn't there a Michael Jackson song he did with Justin Timberlake about 10 years ago? where they'd use an old vocal. Well, then the Beatles did it, didn't they, with the John Lennon Now and Then and stuff. So
that's been done as well. But these are little scraps of things, aren't they? They're not really whole album projects or that have been shelved. Well, how many other acts? Come on, I mean, I've talked about a few acts that I know a bit about, but viewer, if you know of any other artists who've done this or they had unreleased albums, drop it in the comments. We'll check them out. I'm trying to think of.
I know two people who don't. That's got to be Ryan Adams, because he just releases everything.
He can't possibly. Surely, could you imagine it if Ryan Adams announces, "I've got a vault of unreleased albums"?
I'm recording an album a week, an album a day, and a Baby Bird. Because remember, if you look at Baby Bird back in the sort of that 90s period, even now I think he's still releasing music. But at one point, he was releasing 2-3 albums a year.
It's mad, isn't it?
Yeah, but I suppose if you've got the songs there, I mean, and you know what you want from them, and I suppose you're the guy. I suppose when you're a solo artist and you're not having to, like an Oasis or the Beatles, where you got other people coming in, you can just go into the studio with some session musicians and just go, "This is what I've written. This is what it sounds like. I want you to play this." So, yeah, but I'd like to say there is. I doubt very much there's many Beatles unreleased tracks because they seem to have been milked. But you never know, do you? You just don't know. But they're quite well documented, their sessions and the recording bits.
It's all been geeked out of existence, that has, isn't it? I don't think it's very much that hasn't come out.
I mean, I would be really, really happy if it turned up. Big advert, unreleased material from Top Loader. Yay. Yay. But I'll tell you what they do. That does make me think. Cause I brought it up earlier about B-sides album. We'll have to, not our top 5, but our top 3 B-sides albums. Okay. I think we all know what my number 1 is going to be, but you never know.
What qualifies as a B-sides album? Is it just a collection of songs that were B-sides? Are there many? I suppose there are a few of these, aren't there?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm thinking of one now. Yeah. Okay.
I've got 2, and I've possibly got a 3rd. I think
mine's a bit predictable, really.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to think. Has someone else done a?
Phil, I'm not going to lie. I've got a feeling my number 1 is going to be predictable as well.
Could be, yeah.
Yeah. But it'd be interesting, yeah, because B-sides albums are weird, aren't they? Because these are the tracks that weren't deemed good enough for A-sides or album tracks.
Well, is it because they're not good enough, or is it just they didn't fit the album?
Yeah, possibly. Or
they weren't thought they had hit potential, but maybe they were. Doesn't mean they thought not to be good. They just thought that maybe they wouldn't be a hit.
Yeah, or in the a band that I talk about a lot. One of their tracks, which was going to appear on their second album, didn't appear on their album because obviously Stevie Wonder would have got a lot of royalties from it. So, I've definitely got 2 B-sides albums I can think of off the top of my head that will make my top 3. I'd have to research the others.
I'll tell you what. Paul McCartney has a box set that you can stream, and it's called. What is it called? I think it's called the McCartney 7-inch collection. I may have got that wrong, but it's basically they did a box set that you could buy, a very nice one where you could buy all of the Paul McCartney and Wings solo right up until about 2020, I think, through the whole career, reproduction 7-inch singles of all his original 7-inch singles, and so they came in the vinyl box, but they also put it on streaming, so you can stream your way through all of them, starting with whatever the first one was. What was his first single? Was it Another Day or something like that? Anyway, right up to the recent stuff. And of course, all the B-sides are there now. So there's quite a lot of McCartney B-sides that were not previously on streaming, which are now.
Which are
But the
now
thing,
there.
so you can. So I don't know whether that counts as a B-sides album because it's got all the A-sides on it as well. It's a big long box set of 100 songs or something
We'll have to think of the parameters. We'll have to think of the parameters. And it's interesting that you say about streaming, because I've been, this week, a little bit of a nerd, because I've been looking into the history of the portable music player.
Really?
And
okay.
Yeah, I don't know what, I think I was listening to a history podcast and they were talking about the Mickey phone. I'll bring a picture of it up. And this was the first portable music player. Some Belgian firm and stuff made a similar one, but this was the first one on the market. And it was a portable record player. So it would play small records, basically. So I don't know if you can... let me... very small records. So it came in a tin. I think it was Austrian or Hungarian.
Right.
So you've got your stylus and that here. I think inbuilt in here is a little speaker.
So when was this made?
A tin lid, and that's your little turntable, and you've got a winding handle down here. But
this is made when? In the 60s?
No, 1924.
1924. Wow.
1924
okay.
That came out in.
But the records had to be special small records.
There were shellac records as well, because obviously the vinyl record wasn't really a thing at the time. But yeah, you can see the little stylus and that there. I don't know if you can.
So you could go and sit in the park and listen to your records.
Yeah, basically, yeah. I mean, one thing I've worked out is making music portable. The device they always had, it was the music, which was the difficult part to sort of transport around. And then from that, I was looking at, because I messaged you about it, the flexi disc, which was like rubber paper that you could fold and flex, and another thing with portable record players. And and then all the way up to sort of, even like, you remember what it was like when you had a Walkman, carrying bags of cassettes around, and the Discman.
That was the downside.
I remember going to Argos to buy a Discman, and I got my sums a little bit wrong. Didn't have enough money on me, and so I bought one, which was a little bit cheaper, but it didn't have was it like the anti-skipping or whatever?
Okay, yeah, so you got that all the time. Yeah.
All I can say is, not having anti-skipping on a Discman made it not portable. All it was then was it meant that you could attach some speakers to it and take it to the garden, because it was horrendous. I think I lasted about two...
Yeah, it was okay for sitting still.
Yeah, I lasted about a week with it, and then went back and got one with the anti-skip. And all I'm going to say, game changer. But even that, carrying around CDs and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, I always felt the CDs were never... CDs are not the ideal media for portability because they are scratchable. I don't really like... I mean, I would never take any of my valued CDs into the car, you see. I wouldn't do that.
No, just your reggae ones.
No, exactly. So I think, is it fair to say that the cassette Walkman, until digital came along,
that was the best form of portable
it was
music.
Still the best format, because you could have 90 minutes on a cassette, whereas you could only have 75 minutes on a CD.
Yeah.
So, and then your CD, with cassette, you could either have your album, whatever album you wanted to take, even if it was a 75-minute album or a double album, you could put it on a cassette, right? You could have it on a cassette. And if you wanted also to make your own playlist, your own compilation, you could make it on a cassette. So the cassette was the most versatile, and it's not quite as heavy to carry cassettes around as it is to carry CDs, is it? I don't think.
Yeah, boxes of CDs.
I suppose you could say if you had if you took the discs out and you had the discs in a flip book thing, maybe that would be lighter. But
yeah.
but
But then you never get them back in the cassette in the boxes, and then they go missing.
it's not as hard wearing, is it?
I don't know if you remember, because it was in the 90s, sort of. It was after the Britpop sort of thing, so it was like mid to late 90s when Radio 1 announced that there was going to be basically what became the iPod release. So you could store all your music on something as big as a credit card and all this, and people lost their minds, and I think it was an April Fool's thing that they did. But yeah, you look at like the iPod when it came out, you think you could literally carry your whole collection around on something the size of a credit card, which is mad.
I remember reading an interview with Mick Jagger in the 90s. And it was before MP3s had come out, I think. Or, well, maybe they existed, but they weren't widespread. I think this might have been around the time of Voodoo Lounge, so it might have been 94, but don't quote me on that. But remember Mick Jagger saying that with the technology, he said that in the future, it won't be too long before you'll be able to have everything the Rolling Stones have ever recorded on something the size of a sugar cube.
Yeah.
And that's now true, isn't it? I mean, that did come true.
Yeah.
I mean, you could do that. I mean, you could certainly have everything the Rolling Stones have done on something like that, and you could have it on a sugar cube.
Yeah.
Thanks, Mick, for that.
Maybe he had a DeLorean. Did Mick Jagger have a DeLorean?
Maybe he did.
Well, 1994, it would have been peak Mystic Meg, wouldn't it? That would have been peak Mystic Meg era.
Maybe she told him.
Probably have a little word with her. But no, it just fascinated me, all these different sort of formats of music, like the flexi disc, and and then I was looking at the mini disc, and that never really took off. And in my lifetime, it seems to have been the vinyl record, MP3s, cassette, CD. They seem to be the three formats, and everything's just the derivative of that format.
Yeah,
which never quite works. So I always remember buying like Select magazine or NME or Q, not Q, Q, and they'd always have a thing in there, say like Bruce Springsteen, like basically flogging the mini disc, saying, "Oh yeah, all these other albums will be coming out on mini disc," almost like it was sort of saying, there is this one album of whoever the artist is, we will be releasing more to sort of. Yeah, it never really kicked off, did it, the mini disc? Did you have a mini disc player?
Yeah, I've got one not far from me now. And the thing is with mini disc, I've used mini disc a lot, but that's because, of course, of my involvement with hospital radio. So that became a really useful way of recording programs and replaying them.
Yeah.
And you could edit mini discs. You could do it sonically, so you could chop bits out. So if you said something on a radio show and you made a mistake, and you could actually cut that out.
Was it because the format wasn't physical? I mean, I only know, apart from you, one other person who had a mini disc player, and that was my mate Bossman. And I'm just wondering whether it was like a cassette was bulky, wasn't it? It was wide. It was a good 12, 13 millimeters wide. It was just a bit more, and the CD had a sort of, whether the mini disc was just a bit too, it wasn't feely enough.
I'll see if I've got one hanging around. But yeah, they were nice and small, and they were a little bit like, do you remember the floppy disks for computers that had the little metal slidey bit on? It had a slidey bit like that. So when you put it in the machine, it slid that bit away so that the laser could read it, but it would be protected when it was out of the case. I mean, you could get 74 minutes on it. You could also, on the machines, the hi-fi size machines, they allowed you to record at half speed, so you could get double the time on with a slightly reduced bit rate, but you could get 2.5 hours on, which is why we were so keen.
Took off.
Well, I think they were just slightly too late. I think that's the problem, is that people had already got CD players in cars, and they'd already got
Yeah.
CD collections. So by that point, if the mini disc had come out instead of the CD, it would have been, it would have been massive. But I think that's the problem. Some people, some hi-fi nerds, think that CDs sound better. Sorry, that mini discs sound better than CDs, and it's something to do with the algorithm by which the digital information is encoded. But they think it has this nice sound that's slightly better. I don't.
I just wouldn't hear that.
I can't tell the difference, to be honest. It sounds like a CD to me, but
yeah, it goes back to, remember VHS and Betamax. I mean, Betamax is always said to have had a better
picture.
Better.
It was technically better. Yeah.
Yeah, but the VHS was cheaper to manufacture, and So, but yeah, no, I've been doing a bit of nerding, Phil, and it's quite fascinating. All these sort of, there's so many different forms of portable music, which just blew my mind, really. How sort of, all I can say is, would we have survived in the non-mobile phone age when it comes to music on a portable device? I think we would have. Kids now,
we did.
No, not a chance.
I have to say, digital files and being able to stream is massively, massively convenient.
Yeah,
and I have accessed so much stuff that I wouldn't easily have been able to get hold of.
Yeah,
so I kind of am a fan of all of it, but of course at the same time it has caused damage, hasn't it? Because the artists aren't getting as much money.
Well, in our next show that we're going to record after this, we'll be discussing artists getting money mainly off of me. I've got a little pile of vinyl records here.
We'll do that then. We'll see how much you spent on vinyl in the next show. Viewer, thanks for watching these ramblings. We do appreciate it. Thank you for following us if you've done so recently. And we will see you in the next show. Bye for now.
On the flip side.